Hello, and welcome to Philosophy 101 Introduction to Logic. My name is Mia Wood. I am a part time instructor at the University of Rhode Island, and I am looking forward to working with you this spring semester. It's 2021. I'm very excited that we get to start off a new year together, and I'm hoping that you are safe and well and that we can resume some semblance of what we have historically thought of as a normal life very soon. But I hope that our lives are improved both by the vaccine as well as by steps that we take to make our lives both for ourselves and each other better. We can always improve, and to that end, we are going to study the principles and techniques of good reasoning. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the course. And then we'll get into the details as we go along in the over the course of our semester. What do we do in a course like this? Well, we take the time, and it's always a good time, but especially I think given recent events, to study argumentation. More specifically, we study what an argument is, principles of good reasoning, as well as techniques for identifying, constructing, and evaluating arguments. So we want to be able to become very proficient in these areas because we spend a good part of every day engaged in reasoning, both the production of arguments as well as the identification and evaluation of arguments. So having a toolkit, if you will, for good reasoning is incredibly important for us. We are going to spend our time together engaged in the study of reasoning by way of reading a text that is provided to you. So there's nothing for you to purchase. You will also engage in discussion forum posts and peer replies, so you'll be interacting with each other. It's also the case that you will evaluate your own progress, not just by way of engaging with each other in discussion, but also by way of reading quizzes and exams. So more on the details of that stuff a little bit later. Now, we only meet once a week, Fridays at 9 a.m. We're going to use that time to cover any questions, problems, confusions that you have. I will highlight, specific concepts and skills that are of particular note for whatever we're working on in a given week. But that leaves the rest of the week for you to work on the course in what is effectively an online only environment. In other words, we're replacing classroom meetings with one weekly meeting, and we're replacing classroom meetings with asynchronous or non-concurrent coursework, which is to say, it's not like there are specific times when you have to work on the course. So in addition to the weekly meetings, I also have office hours. If you want to meet but you can't make an office hour, don't worry, we can set up another time to meet. All right, so with that basic information down, let's go ahead and take a look at our course site. We will go over the layout of the course so you can become familiar with the terrain, the territory, and we'll also go over the syllabus. We'll go over where you can find what you need for the course, and that will include the textbook. That will include assessments like discussion forum links, quiz links, and so forth. So I hope it's the case that when we're done with this video, you'll have a good idea of what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, why we're going to do it, and where we're going to do it. Let's get started. Okay, so here we are on our course homepage. And it should be the case that the strip of links in the across the top of the course site look familiar to you. I haven't adjusted the layout from what Brightspace gives us by default. Um, so that should, if your other courses instructors follow the same approach, then that should all look the same to you. I haven't posted any announcements as of this video because the first announcement will be about this video. So when you actually get to the course homepage, there will be an announcement here. And then you can see under the calendar tab upcoming events, things for us to complete. So the layout of the course is, I've adopted the tile approach for the layout of the course, which is to say you've got tiles for important items like the syllabus and fact page, the textbook, and so forth. More on all that in just a little bit, but those are at the top of the page. And then as we scroll down, you'll see a tile for each week's work, right? So week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and so forth. Now, if you don't like the tile navigation, you can always click on the content link and you can navigate according to effectively the table of contents approach, where on the left-hand side will be the links that I just mentioned in tile format, but instead they're in a sort of an ordinary English language word link. So I'm going to go back to the tile format, and you can figure out what navigation works best for you. I hope it's the case that the layout that I've adopted, the organization more specifically of the material you find accessible. That's the most important thing. So let me know if you don't. So we've got our syllabus and our course facts. So if you have a question about the course, it should be answered here. So for example, is there a required textbook, and so forth? Okay, so yes, there is a required textbook. I'll get to that in a minute. I'm just going to go back to the previous page. Let's start with the syllabus. You'll see the sort of the standard boilerplate language in this syllabus. It includes what we're doing, what the course is about, as well as what I think you're particularly interested in, the assessments. I offer a link to our meeting video, our meeting room, our video conference classroom, if you will, in a number of places, and the syllabus is one. But our assessments are as follows. We engage in almost weekly discussion forum topics. We engage in almost weekly quizzes and a total of 4 exams. The discussion forums focus on specific concepts or skills that I'd like you to home in on, so that you can clarify a feature of the study that we're engaged in for a given week. The quizzes are multiple choice and true false, and those are meant to engage you with the textbook. So, you look up answers. You should be able to find all of the answers in the textbook. If the exercise on a quiz is a skill quiz, then if you have completed practice by way of the workbooks, which I provide, as well as exercise keys and answer discussions, then you should be in really good shape to demonstrate your proficiency with a skill. Make sure that you do a lot of practice. This is a skills-based course. The quizzes will help you with the skills that you're asked to exhibit on a given exam. Like I said, there are 4 exams. There are also retests of the first 3 exams. So if you struggle with an exam, you can retest it. I take your best score. So it really doesn't matter, to me, which one you do best on. In fact, if you do really well on your first exam attempt, and you decide that you want to try again, just for the fun of it, or to reinforce your skills, then take the second exam, or the retest, I should say. And if your score improves, yay. But if it doesn't matter, because like I said, I take your best score. There are also some quizzes for extra credit, and those extra credit quizzes, um, sorry, the scores from the extra credit quizzes go towards your overall quiz score. Okay, so one other point I should make about the assessments on the discussion forum. Um, for discussion forums, you get written feedback from me, which I should provide to you within 72 hours of the close date for a given forum. But everything else, the quizzes and the exams, are all auto scored, and there is feedback for each exercise. If the feedback isn't there for some bizarre reason, or you don't see it, but it is there, or you don't see it, you think it should be there, let me know. Also, if you see the feedback and it's not as clear to you as you would like, then let me know and we can have a conversation, right? The more that the clearer you are on what you're doing and how to do what you're doing, the better at it you will be through through lots of practice. Let's see, there was something else I was going to mention about. Oh, yeah. So, another item to get to before we move on is when stuff is due. So, I have a schedule, and let's scroll down so you can see it sort of at a glance. I have a schedule where you see that, for example, reading quiz 1, you've got actually the language shouldn't say closes, it should just say due. Like here it says due. I don't know why I use the word closes, but your reading quizzes are due by 11:55 p.m. on the Sunday of the week that they're due, right? That they're open and available. But they don't close then. So if you miss a quiz, don't worry, you can access it. I put due dates in the syllabus and on your calendar to help keep you on track. But that doesn't mean that if you miss a quiz, you won't be able to access it. You still can access it. So I'll show you that in a little bit. The same also with exams. I do not recommend that you miss due dates just because you don't want work to pile up. At the same time, the quizzes and the exams will stay open, so you have time to complete them. Discussion forum deadlines are a little bit different. The discussion forum original posts are due on a Thursday, and then your peer replies due by 11:55 p.m. on a Sunday, again, of the week that the thing is open for you. But the wiggle room for completing a discussion if you miss doing it is not quite as flexible as are the quizzes and exams. In other words, all discussion forum posts have to be completed, or the due date is what they should be completed by Sunday, but they're open for another 24 hours. That is through the end of the day on Monday. And that's just because I need to have time to read you, offer you some feedback, right? And you use, I hope, what you've learned from the discussion forums on a given quiz or exam. So if I left the discussion forum due date open-ended, or the deadline, I should say, open-ended, then that could end up kind of being a bit of a disaster with respect to me being able to get feedback to you in a timely fashion. So, think about quizzes, exams as being more flexible in terms of the due date deadline issue than our discussion forums, right? So you can see that the layout here looks pretty similar to what you see on the Brightspace page, right? So here's our syllabus. I hope that this looks fairly accessible to you. Let's go back now to let's go to the table of contents. And I want to say a little bit about the layout. So you notice that I said, or I have in the syllabus, it says that there are videos, readings for you to complete and videos for you to watch. All the videos are optional. I'll click on a link for the videos associated with Chapter 2. You don't have to watch these. These are meant to facilitate your learning experience. If you tend to learn better by listening and watching than by reading, think about maybe looking at videos or listening to videos before you work the reading. Alternatively, if you think that your learning style is better facilitated by reading, don't watch the videos, right? It's totally up to you. But every week is laid out the same, right? There's going to be, so let's look at week 1, right? We've got our objectives, we've got our resources. So for example, we're told what we're going to read, as the resources are linked. So for example, if I click on Chapter 2, we're taken to the Chapter 2 material. I'm going to go back to the table of contents. You can find the textbook though also here, right, toward the top of the table of contents page. Or if we go to our course homepage, there is a tile that has the link to the textbook, the workbook, and the answer keys. Right, so let's go back to the weekly layout. So as I mentioned just a moment ago, week 1, learning objectives, resources, and assessments. So let's page through these together. You'll see that every week is laid out exactly the same way. I'll give you another example in a moment. All right, so we've got our learning objectives. If we page forward, we get to our resources, right? So stuff to read, stuff to watch. Remember, the videos are optional. And then if there's an assessment, there'll be the assessment is going to be linked under the assessments module, right? So let me go back to table of contents real quick. Let me click on the textbook and workbook and answer keys module. The textbook is divided up into chapters. So Chapter 1, the workbook, so that you can practice with the material from Chapter 1, and then the keys, right? Chapter 2, workbook, keys. Chapter 3, an appendix that should be helpful to you, workbook, keys. The Chapter 3 appendix is also in the chapter itself, but I've pulled it out in case you want to download it separately, right? Chapter 4 and Chapter 5. So the idea is that as you're working through, a given week, you will be told what it is that you're working on, and you can access what you're working on through a given week's module, in this case, the resources page. So let's say you want to go to Chapter 1 exercises. You can link to the workbook within the window, or you can always get to the workbook through the actual pages devoted to the textbook. And you don't have to download and print them. If you have a way to work your exercises without having to print the textbook and the workbook and the exercise keys, because it's a lot, by all means do. You'll kind of figure out what works best for your workflow, but practice is really, really important. Okay, one last thing. Let's go to assessments. Oops, I'm going to go back to the table of contents. Remember I said just a little bit ago that the weeks lay out the same, and we saw that there wasn't an assessment in week 1, right? You're just getting used to the course. You're going to learn the territory. But let's go to, I don't know, week 4. And here again, right? Objectives, resources, assessments. Let's click on assessments. And you'll see that you'll complete the third reading quiz. So I'm going to click on that. You'll be told what this quiz covers. Now, let's talk about the aforementioned due date versus deadline or available until. Notice the due date is on a Sunday, right, of the week that the quiz is made available to you. Sorry, let me rephrase that. It's not that it's made available. It's available before then, but that's the week that it's assigned, I should say. But notice that if you miss the due date, you can get to this quiz as late as it should be the start of our exam week, right? So do I want you to let the quizzes pile up? Heck no, I don't. That's not good for you. Kind of defeats the purpose of the learning experience. But if you're about a week behind or 3 days behind, don't worry because the quiz is available. Same thing with the exams, okay? So I wanted to make sure we got through that. Let me go ahead and click on the course homepage so that we can go back to our tile layout. I'll get to the meeting room in just a moment. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, notice we've got a link for retests and extra credit. This is where you access, unless you click on a quiz, the quiz link at the top of the tab page. This is where you access your retests as well as your extra credit quizzes. Right, so these are open all semester long. You can see that you have access to them until May 2nd. So again, remember to where there is a due date and an available until date to distinguish between staying on track, that's the due date, and when you will no longer be able to access the assessment in question. That the discussion due dates and deadlines are slightly different from the quizzes and the exams, specifically the window within which you can complete a discussion forum, post, and peer reply once the due date has passed is only 24 hours. And that's to make sure that I can stay on track with giving you feedback. All right, so now let's go to the Let's Talk, Let's Meet link. I hope as I'm moving around here, you're seeing how the course is laying out, right? Course home takes you to the main page of the course home page, right? And you can navigate from there to where you want to go. But you could also navigate by way of the content page or, as I've shown you before, the table of contents, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at this Let's Talk, Let's Meet module, where you've got your class meeting room link. You've got a discussion forum devoted to questions, problems, confusions. If you have a general question, comment, whatever, go ahead and post it in the discussion, the relevant discussion field, and your classmates can help and I can help. So we'll all be tooling around there, I hope. And then, of course, there's the link to my Monday and Wednesday office hours. Remember, if I can't make office hours, or sorry, if you can't make office hours, let me know and we can always find another time to meet, right? So you can find our video conference room link by way of the navigation I just showed you. You can also, let's go to the course homepage. You can also scroll to the tile that says, let's talk, let's meet. And when you click there, you're taken to the same area, right? So this is the link for our Friday 9 a.m. meeting. All right, so I hope I've covered everything so that you have an overview of the course layout, as well as where you find what you need, when you are going to complete assessments, how you are going to work the material in terms of the workbook and optional videos and so forth. If you have any questions, problems, confusions, let me know. I am here to help.